Who am I?
Where did we come from?
What's God like?
If he does exist, does he really hear me when I pray?
Would he want to meet me?
Why do we suffer?
Where can I find hope?
God is closer than you think.
God is closer than you think.
There is just no denying that from top to toe, this little nation of ours is just bursting with its own unique beauty spots, views that are just breathtaking, even awe-inspiring. From the rugged splendour of our mountain ranges, where walkers track their way up and down well-worn paths of discovery, to our beaches where families come to play and surfers from all over the world descend to chase the next big wave of the mighty deep, to the countless acres of parkland and woodland, places where we're reminded of our size in nature's grand scale, where we go to unwind and find that peace and quiet we simply won't get anywhere else. We all have our favourite spots, places we go to stop and just soak it in. Places where we quite literally breathe in, where we almost unconsciously try to absorb something of a more natural atmosphere, try to capture something of that childlike sense of wonder that just got woken up deep inside of us. You can always exercise, of course, in a gym or unwind on any sort of holiday you like, but there is something unique about surrounding yourself with nature, finding spaces with that mysterious ability to help you rediscover your life and gain fresh perspective. Places where we reconnect with something that is bigger than ourselves, something ancient, permanent, enduring. Question. Why do we find ourselves so drawn to these places? Beyond the time off and the fresh air and the exercise, what is it about them that is so relaxing, so refreshing, even reviving? Whether we stare up at the canopy of stars that is stretched out above us, or stoop down to hear the noises of another world of tiny creatures living beneath our feet, or find ourselves captivated by the beautifully blended colours and textures of creation. What is it that we find there that so inspires us? What does it draw out of me? Where does it point my soul? I was at a safari park with the family a few months back, and the kids were fascinated by the reptiles guy talking about these huge snakes that he brought out to show us. And he was describing how clever the snake's body was that allowed it to do all the things that snakes do so perfectly well. And the expert couldn't help but use the phrase, "It's so beautifully designed for this, so perfectly designed for that." That's interesting, isn't it? It's like when something works so perfectly well, we naturally assume it had to be made that way, that somebody had to design it to fit that task or that environment. It's like this is so deeply hardwired into the way that we think that we can't help but use this language of design. When you zoom out from one species of snake to the entire animal kingdom, then add in the rest of nature itself, including all the matter, space, and time that work together to make the rest of the cosmos, you have to wonder, could such powerful and complex systems all work together so well just by chance, by a blind process of trial and error? If there is this grand design to the universe, doesn't there have to be an even grander designer?
When you look at how a living cell works, be it smallest, simplest bacteria to largest mammal or plants, the basic processes that happen are incredibly advanced. Take, for example, the fuel of life, which is ATP. Rather like petrol in a car, plays a similar role in terms of powering all the processes. But unlike petrol, where it's burnt in the engine to carbon dioxide and water vapour, which are lost, the fuel of life is recycled. Each of us, recycles about our body weight of fuel every day. But this is done by a set of small electric motors in each cell that puts the fuel back together again. So every living cell has got electric motors inside. Now that fact alone should actually make us think, actually, could that have simply come about from a chemical origin? You could get all the physicists, chemists and biologists of the world together. We could never actually come up with something like that and get it to work. The issues are complex. There's a danger of simplistic arguments, and we must recognise we can't prove or disprove God's existence from science. But the beauty and the exquisite nature of life and the universe around us seems to me to just point strongly to a wise creator to whom we owe our existence, and therefore we have to ask serious questions of ourselves about what he wants of us.
Could such incredible beauty and intricate design really exist without a creator? You see, we all face questions at some point. How did we get here? Why are we here? Because if the evidence is increasingly suggesting that there is a design, a mind, a personality, a driving force behind it all, the natural question is, who is this designer? What kind of divine genius could have conceived all this? What kind of supernatural power would it take to create it? I just think about this possibility for a moment. What if we are not some afterthought, not a chance spin on the cosmic roulette wheel? What if the forces that have shaped our environment, our species, and ultimately our destiny are not the blind forces of survival and selection, but are instead the guiding, caring influence of a loving God? In the scriptures, through the voice of the prophets, this picture emerges time and time again of God as a potter. One prophet called Jeremiah writes this: "I went down to the potter's house, and I saw him working at the wheel. But the pot he was shaping from the clay was marred in his hands, so the potter formed it into another pot, shaping it as seemed best to him. Then the word of the Lord came to me, O house of Israel, can I not do with you as this potter does, declares the Lord? Like clay in the hand of the potter, so are you in my hand." Question: what if the designer behind it all isn't some distant being whose genius created a universe to spin off to its own devices? What if, instead, this ancient portrait from the prophets is true, that the potter's hands, the divine ability to shape and mould, are still surrounding all of life, all he has made? What if God is actually intimately connected, passionately concerned about the work of his hands, about our world, about us? What if his attention, his affection is still focused right here, right now? But this picture is also one of a pot that is not yet finished, marred, and even damaged in places. But the potter knows what's best and continues to smooth away, to mould down, to make new. What if it matters to him what I do with the life he has created for me? What if that true potential that lies latent in our soul we can never discover without him? I cannot fully find myself without surrendering into his hands. He has the design in mind. He knows what is best. He wants what is best. And if that is true, what do I do with that instinct in me that still wants to shape my own life, to design my own destiny? Can I stop trying to be the potter, the designer, and learn to rest in the grip of his grace? Can I be forgiven for the cracks I have made, the brokenness? Can I really be remade? Is it possible that the places we run to refresh us so deeply because they are signposts for our soul to a greater reality, that we were lovingly crafted by a God who still wants to hold us, who still wants to shape us into his original design? Think about it. Talk about it. Question.